Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I sat down for a little bit and gathered a list of all the coolest moves you can do in Elden Ring PVP. You know me, it's your boy W to the T. I have like 6,000 hours in the PVP of this game, so if anybody knows, it's me. I know every move, I know every bad move, every lame move, and all the coolest ones. And here's some of the ones that I think are the coolest things you can do in all of Elden Ring PvP. And number one, this is in not any specific order, okay? So number one, we have parrying second part of Phantom Slash. That's let me pull it up for you. All right, this is Phantom Slash, right? And you do the move, and then you do this, okay? Now, parrying this part, the second part, which does the slam down, that's fine. You know, that's one of the I say that's easier because if you dodge enough times, you're out of you're out of range for to hit that. But the first part of the Ash of War, after after the Phantom goes away, when the actual person attacks, that's a parryable attack. And parrying that is one of the it needs you need to be in the right place, dodge right to the right spot, and then you have to time it right, and it's very difficult. And when I do sometimes pull it off, it's very cool. I'd say that's one of the cooler moves. And then we have similar sort of landing the parry on one of the spinning slash Ashes of War, that the second part does the bam, does the slam down instead of the continuous spinning. I'd say this is one of the cooler ones as well. This one is also very difficult to land. I haven't landed it many times. And the two spin arounds, they're not parryable, but the slam down at the end, it is. And let me tell you, when you parry it, it's very satisfying. Another thing, so all these I can there's a bunch of parrying stuff. I'm gonna put them all under the same category, so they're all parrying. Being able to read your opponent, I think that's very good, very cool stuff if you can pull some of these off. Something else that I'm very proud of doing, and this happened like one time. Then again, not a lot of people use this sword to be exact, but yeah, the Zamor Ice Storm is actually, the Ash of War is actually parryable. The slam down, this right here, bam, this is exactly parryable, and I one time did it. And of course, many of these parries are only possible with the golden parry Ash of War. That's why you gotta use that. That's why golden parry is goated, because you get to parry so many things that you can just be out of the range for. Especially this one is a area of effect, so you can't be close when it's happening, or you gotta get real lucky with it. But with the golden parry, you can just stand back, and at the exact moment it's coming down, you can parry. It's very cool, and I'm proud of doing that. And then some more parry. I'm gonna go through these parries. So parrying invisible enemies. So as you know, in the Colosseum, people do this a lot. They cast the Assassin's Gambit, and they do the Ash of War Assassin's Gambit, then cast the other spell that makes you invisible, and then you can't target them, okay? And that's the thing, and you can't target them. And parrying those guys, I've done it a bunch of times. It's very satisfying because generally they use very fast weapons. I don't know why they do, but usually, I don't know, their class maybe doesn't allow for it. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried that kind of class in depth, but this is depth. It is the case that they use very fast weapons, and you can just hold a parry and free aim the parry. Wherever you think they're gonna attack, bam, they're parried. And I've done this multiple times. It's very cool. It's one of the cooler moves you can do. Like, brother, I can't even see you, but I still know what you're gonna do. So that's very cool to do. Then we have parrying Chinese laggy opponents. This is one of my greatest achievements. Some of my greatest parries of all time were actually with some specific Chinese players, because because of the lag. You know, these players are like 500 ms, right? So they're from the future, so you have to predict that. And whenever I first fight these people, I don't know what the latency is, of course. So with the first interaction I have with them in the fight, I realize what the latency is. You know, I get there when their attack is gonna land, and sometimes it's so early that, you know, we have one interaction. You know, the match starts, I run at them, I do this, they roll, and depending on where they roll and how they roll, and I look at them to see what weapon they're using, you can actually parry them. So this is the reason it's impressive, because some fights, you know, happen like I said, I jump, I do one attack, they roll that way, and I pull this parry out and parry, and I just stand here looking at the wall and shit, you know, looking around, just chilling, relaxing, knowing full well that the parry landed. Like, I'm confident that this shit landed, and I stand there and I pull out the misery cord ready to kill. And you know, what do you know? A couple of seconds later, bam, they come and attack, and I get the parry. It's one of the coolest things I've done in the past 6,000 hours I've been playing. And yeah, parrying rushers. So rushers are basically, you know, fights start and they have some sort of glaive or some sort of halberd, something that has a long range and has a really fast running attack. So when they have that, you know, and I haven't even, you know, some of these people I haven't fought before, so this is the first time I fight them. And what they do is run at me, and of course a bunch of the times I'm just standing still, or usually I'm doing the lightning, right? I'm doing the thunderbolt. But there was a time when I just stood still to see what my opponent would do. And this is, you know, most of them, all the things I have on this list, you know, this is the stuff that leaves the opponent speechless, and they're gonna go and later think to themselves, how the fuck did that happen, you know? And this is one of those moments, because these opponents are summoned into the Colosseum. They see me, they run at me, and they do a running light attack. And because I'm standing still, they're like, okay, damn, AFK, you know, free attack. But what they don't know, I'm actually not AFK. So I see them running, I actually know the exact spot where I need to pull out my shield. I pull out, bam, they're already parried and dead, and don't even know. And the match just started. And yeah, they're gonna go home crying after that one. That's one of my coolest. That's the coolest, one of the cooler moves you can do. Okay, now we get to holding unsheathed. Let me just do actually both of these together. You know, jumping is something that the try-hard players love doing. You know, jumping around when they're close to you. They jump around. They be like, because most of the bottom part of your feet are actually invincible. You know, they can't get hit. So a lot of people feel very safe jumping around. But not when I'm in the Colosseum, because I have unsheathed, right? Unsheathed has the ultimate anti-air attack. Here it is. You do the heavy unsheath, and the hitbox is absolutely disgusting. It's like as long as this column here. So you do the overhead unsheath, and that is anti-air. That is a very effective anti-air. It does a lot of damage to them, and they're you know, blasted, you know, on the ground, because doing that kind of damage puts you on the ground floor. You know, not being able to move for half a second. And this is one of the coolest things you can do. Like I said, doing the anti-air, and you know, sometimes perfectly timing it is really awesome, because they sometimes have a long spear, and they think they got you, so they jump and do the light attack with the spear, right? Let me see if I don't have anything to replicate it, but they do the long attack with the spear, right? And if you time it right, your unsheath is gonna be longer than their hitbox, so you're gonna hit and they're not, if you time it correctly, and the opponent is not that big of an expert in the hitboxes. You can actually blast the fuck out of them in that situation. And see, that's one of the cooler things I can do, because you can imagine, you know, in a scenario like that, it's awesome because they're in the air. You can just envision it, and you got the sword, and your sword reaches them, but their spear doesn't reach you, and it is very cool. And after that, when they're on the ground, this is something else I do. I hold the unsheath, right? I want to do the light attack, because that's what gonna get them. So they're on the ground, so they roll to cancel the animation of being on the ground to get out of it fast. And they see me, you know, because they've been hit out of the air and stunned on the ground for half a second. They see me get close to them and have unsheath. So what they do is they roll again, and they roll again 3 times. This is 90% of players. There are some specific players that roll more than that, but usually 3 times. I don't know what's with players' psychology, but this is how it works. When on the ground, they roll 1 time, 2 times, then 3 times, and they're like, okay, this guy is holding on sheath. He's probably not gonna use it. I can do a crouch attack to surprise them. What they don't know is that there's no way to surprise me. I know every move, okay? So when the second roll hits the ground, I'm already initiating my light unsheath. So no matter how laggy the situation is with me and the other player, I'm gonna hit this, and they're not gonna be able to do their crouch attack because of how well I read this situation. That this has happened tens of times, you know, 20 times, maybe 30 times. It keeps happening. I anti-air them, they're on the ground, boom, 1, 2, zap, and I do this. They see, I love this. This means I'm in your head. I know exactly when you're gonna attack and when you're gonna land your attacks. I know I've seen it all. So that's one of the coolest things you can do. And then I have the mid-air bow user counter. So a lot of bow users love doing. I didn't bring a bow for this occasion, unfortunately. A lot of bow users, for example, I'm over there. Okay, they're trying to bow me. Bam, bam, bam. I get close, right? I get close. I hit them. And to escape me very, you know, professionally, they roll back and then jump and then back, you know, jump and then throw an arrow. And for most players, this is there's nothing they can do about it, and they're gonna land a headshot. Usually the archers are gonna land a headshot when they do that. They jump backwards and they attack you. Of course, I'm facing this way right now, but imagine I'm facing that way. There's my opponent in front of me, and I jump backwards and I shoot an arrow at them, and no matter what running attack they do, they're not gonna catch me. But something I do, I find it very awesome. Imagine they're in the air trying to bow you, and if I do this with the Nagakiba or any light katana, you can do this. If you just wait for them to do that, then jump and do a light attack. The light attack in the jump of the katana is so high up that first of all, the arrow that they launched mid-air, it's not gonna hit you. It's gonna go through your feet. That's how it's gonna work. And because of how high this is and how fast it initiates, most attacks in air are not gonna be able to catch you. So a lot of enemies that do the backwards jump attack to get you with their long range weapon, they're gonna miss you if you do this with your katana. So this is one of the cooler moves you can do, and I'm proud to have found a way to. I don't see many people doing this, so I consider myself to be one of the few people that does this, to destroy bow users and absolutely, you know, be in their face when they're trying to get away from me. So that's very cool, you know, mid-air while they're in the air attack. That's pretty cool. That's one of the cooler things you can do. Yeah. Okay. This is at the top of my list. This has got to be at the top of the coolest thing I can do, personally. But if you can do it, that means you know a good amount about the game. Standing at the edge of your enemy's blade. So a lot of enemies have, you know, long range weapons, all kinds of weapons, blades, spears, swords. So something they do is because a lot of them have a huge hitbox, right? So they swing and they hope they got you. So something I do is stand, you know, at the edge. So because I know exactly, you know, I study my enemies, the weapon they have, and how their attack lands on me. So I know what the latency does to the hitbox, and I memorize that. So no matter how laggy they are, I can do this. I can stand, you know, near the edge, very edge of their blade. You know, when they're doing a running attack, in front of me, I can calculate, you know, instinctively where their attack is gonna land and where it's not. And a lot of the time when they're close to me, they think they can land. I know they can't. So I stand at the edge of their blade and just staring them down. And I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever done in this game. I don't think anybody does this shit. See, I don't even punish them, because I can do a light attack then and mine would land and theirs wouldn't. But I never do this. I think it's just awesome. I swear, this is some anime shit. I'm standing, I'm standing here, and the guys, I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? And the guys, guys attacking me, and the blade is right here, up to my nose, and I'm like, you almost had me there. See, it's so fucking anime. I swear, this is very cool. And then, sometimes they get angry. They're gonna hit you. The main character is gonna hit you like, ah! And they miss, and they're like, how did I miss? I'm gonna get him now. Ah! And they do it again, and this time, because of how slow they attack, right? The next attack is right there. This is another thing, a lot of players know about hit stun, that you shouldn't attack out of hit stun, and this is what I call attack stun. This is when you attack and you're very close to your enemy but you miss. This is when you should roll and not attack again. But a lot of players don't, they're too tired to care about this, so they do a running attack. They're like, oh shit. Then they do a charge attack or then they do a light attack. And that's when I'm at the edge of their blade. I pull out my shield and I'm like, brother, I was so close to your blade intentionally to tell you that just like Vati Vidyas studies the lore in each item, every weapon, every armor, I study the pixels, my brother. I know every pixel, where it's gonna hit, where it's gonna land. All these years that the game has been out, I studied every weapon. I know every damn pixel. I know how to avoid them, I know everything about everything. Okay? And you're gonna come close to me and then attack again, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. So that's one of the cooler things I can do. They can just come up to my nose and I'm like, I know it's not gonna hit. And then they continue and I'm like, okay, you're dead now because you fucked up. So yeah, I think that's some of the cooler things you can do in the game. Yeah, that was that. Maybe achieve. Yeah, disconnecting on cheaters. I love this because disconnecting on cheaters. There's a cheater right now. I'm not gonna show you the profile. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about because if you see the video right now, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of cheaters in this game join, and they're trying to corrupt your save and that kind of thing. So something I do, I can actually counter those people without even technically cheating. So this is one of the cool. That's why I think it's very cool. And I might be the first person to have a hacker actually block them instead. Instead of blocking the hacker, I think the hacker blocked me because this is how it goes down. Before every fight, I use the Steam overlay to check out who the player I'm about to fight is, and when I realize the name and the profile picture and I know it's the hacker, I use Laxish to disconnect before the match even begins. So a lot of these hackers, I beat their ass in fight, or when they're about to kill me, I leave the match. So I'm their arch nemesis basically. They can never get me. So as soon as they know they're fighting me, they enter the match and they automatically use the hacks and try to corrupt my save. And of course it doesn't matter. I have 10 different backups all over the place. It doesn't do anything to me. And they're trying to kill me as fast as I enter the Coliseum. So what I do is I recognize the name, I disconnect before the match even begins. So they get zero satisfaction out of anything. So this has happened. The best part is sometimes they're consecutively matched with me, so they keep getting the disconnect thing. So that's the ultimate thing you can do against the hackers. They can't do anything about it but block you. That's the only thing they can do, and I love that. That's one of the cooler things you can do. And okay, parrying the spamming opponent. Well, this one is like some epic shit out there. So a bunch of people use for some reason, unknown reasons, they use the knife, right? They use the double knife setup. They have a status build up on it, and they want to get close to you and start spamming the knife. So one thing they don't know, if you spam the dual wield knife, like you have for example 2 Reduvias and you're doing a lot of bleed. So let me start stabbing, and if you pay attention, the first string of attacks before it takes off and really starts dealing damage, there's a pause. It's like pa pa pa, 1 2 3, and then there's a pause. Pa pa pa, and then wait. There's a wait there. So what I usually do is when I see an enemy spamming the knives, I just go in their face and you know they start spamming, and after that 3 there's a pause, and that gives me just enough time to initiate the parry. So although they're gonna keep attacking me and some of their attacks are not gonna the parry is not gonna land on those attacks, their initial attacks after the 3 papas. So the 2 may hit me, but the one after that is definitely gonna land in my parry. And what it looks like is generally just me standing in there and just taking hits, and no matter what, I am certain that because it's daggers, it's not gonna do enough damage to kill me, no matter how fast they're spamming it. So I'm gonna be in their face just taking damage, and then bam, and the parry is gonna eventually land, and I'm gonna switch to my dagger and kill them. And I think this is the most awesome, ruthless way to deal with these people. And it reminds me of course, my favorite character, Battle Beast. You know, when his first appearance, when he shows up, and you know there are superheroes who I don't remember who it is, but comes up to him and just punches him in the face a bunch of times, and he's just standing there like taking it, and he's like, okay, that's enough, boy, and then blast the fuck out of them. This is exactly something like that moment, and I don't even give a shit. You know, this goes for the double star fists too. So I go stand there in their face. You know, something about the star fist users is that they double their charge attack. So when they do this, it doesn't matter how much they charge it, immediately afterwards they do the charge attack again for you know, double landing the charge attack, you know, and comboing it into the previous charge attack. And I love this because no matter how badly I miss the first charge attack they do with the fist weapons, the second one is gonna land in my parry, and I'm gonna fuck them up. And I love that. See, when they're trying to get you, and you're like, this doesn't hurt, brother, and parry them immediately after. That's very cool. Yeah. And then I have a bunch of jump attack things. So for example, this is mostly about ultra colossal swords. So the thing about them is that they have a huge hitbox, and when they do a running attack or a normal light attack, you know, there ain't much players can do about them but dodge, and that's why they're a great tool for landing status buildup. But something they don't care about, and many players do this, when your opponent is in your face, something they can do and you can't do anything about it, no matter how, if you have ultra greats or any weapon you have, they can just jump and do a heavy. I mean, with the katana anyways, I don't know what other weapon you could use, but if you're in their face and their weapon is slow, you can just jump and do a heavy, and they're not gonna hit you no matter what if you're very close to them. And I use this to bully colossal sword users, you know, the poor bastards. They think, oh, I'm gonna swing and nothing that he can do about it. I'm gonna do a running attack, and the hitbox is just so big, he's not gonna be able to do anything about it. But I'm in their face, and bam, I jump, and it just doesn't hit. Their attacks just never hits me, and I love that. That's one of the cooler things you can do. Something similar to that is doing the backwards Urumi jump attack. Urumi is one of those weapons that has so much range that not even you know the jump attack is pretty good, because even if you have a spear, I'm not sure if this will work. I haven't tried it with the spear, but I'm sure there's something just about the hitbox of the Urumi that's gonna make this work. So ultra greatsword users, they love doing, you know, running attacks at you, and many things can't dodge that running attack because of the way the coding of the game works and latency and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be like a huge hitbox of colossal sword across the fucking arena. So something you can do, you're locked onto them, right? And you roll, and then immediately do a backwards running attack from the air. Of course, I'm facing, you know, this way right now. I should be facing them, for example, locked on them. Maybe I should summon some enemy or something like that to demonstrate this. But yeah, you can do a backwards jump and light attack on the Urumi. Light attack because it's just fast enough to hit them as they're doing their colossal sword running attack. And this is one of the few ways, you know, except for the running attack on the Nagakiba, you know, you can do that too. Roll and then do this, and you're gonna go through their two ultra great sword swings. You're gonna go through that and enter their hitbox zone without getting hit. But yeah, this is much cooler because they're doing their swing, you know, it's very anime, you know, it's very cinematic. they're doing their swing and you're in the air, you know, doing a little like sting with your Urumi light attack, and they can't reach you because your feet are invincible, of course, and they can't hit you, but you can hit them at the exact moment. That's what I call a perfect counter, which is the time both enemies swing, but one of them is placed better, so one of them lands and one of them doesn't. I love when that happens. That's one of the main things I do. It's very cool. And this one is specifically cool just because mid-air, you know, anything mid-air I like because it's extra epic. And you know, they're trying to come at you, and meanwhile you're just jumping backwards and, you know, urumiing them. It's very cool. Yeah, those are the two things. That one. Just checking. Spanish. Yeah. Lightning on buffing or running away. And a lot of people in the Coliseum, you know, join the match and they have a buff. They have a buff right here, for example. They join the match with this in their main slot. This is what they're gonna do. So the match starts and they're gonna spam this and they're gonna walk backwards. And they're so sure of this that this will work and nothing will interrupt them. But they haven't heard of is my Thunderbolt. So I join and immediately do this. And because of the bullcrap animation being long enough, my lightning hits them before the buff goes off. And this is one of my favorite things to do. This goes with other buffs as well, but if they're speeding those up with the incantation speed up, they're probably gonna be able to get that off. But generally, people who aren't that careful and think they can just do a boiling crap at the beginning of a match, I show them, I beg to differ, you know, when I do this. And another thing is enemies that I beat to, you know, half HP. And not half HP, you know, a little bit of health. They have a little bit of health, so they run away, and you know, it's another anime moment because they're running away. They think they're the main character, and like, oh, with this talisman, I'll be able to beat you finally. And I'm like, brother, I'm barely looking at them. Okay, I'm going this way. They're running away. They think they got away. They're switching talisman. They're doing all that thing. I'm walking this way, and I just do this, and I don't even look. I know the homie's dead. And I just go about my day, you know, drink coffee and that kind of thing. I know he's dead, and I think that's one of the cooler moments. It's like I'm gonna enact it for you. I see that bitch running away, right? I see the bitch, and I just look this way, bzzz, and then just fucking keep walking. I'm not even looking at the explosion because I'm cool. Holy shit! And that guy is dead. That guy is dead. You know, he thought he was doing buffs. He thought he was gonna get back into the fight, but he didn't think of the Thunderbolt, and now he's dead. Of course, over time, a lot of people recognized this and started dodging it. And of course, I recognized that they're starting dodging it, so I started going after them, doing more Thunderbolt. But yeah, generally, when they don't expect it, they get blasted. And it's very fun to look at. Yeah, that was lightning, and then invisible areas. Okay, yeah, that was about it. That was all the coolest moves. As you know, as the master of PvP, you know, you can look at my armor. It's the veterans set, of course. And if you read the description, it says old armor that has seen many battles. And that's one of the main reasons I'm wearing it, because first of all, it's very war oriented. You know, I look very mean. That's something you gotta do. I mean, it's not a stat in the game, you know, fear. But I definitely do this. When you look, you know, huge, mean, you think you look like you have poise, you look like you have protection, and you know, just wearing this armor, you know, strikes fear in your opponent. I think it's very effective. But also, I like the description; it's very cool, and it represents me because I've played so much at the PvP. I know every move that ever happened, so it's just. Every fight to me is I'm just analyzing all the angles, and I'm like, okay, this is these are all the things this guy can do, and these are all the counters I have for each one. So I like that. So the veteran's armor, I thought it was pretty cool for me. So I'd be using that. It's very fitting and very cool. And as the veteran, I just listed for you all of my favorite, coolest moves that can happen in the game. I don't think there's many lists on this game that, you know, you can go online and look for lame true combos, look for true combos that nobody expects, you know, and be able to pull that off and insta kill your opponent. Or a lot of people just do the spinning slash. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah, a lot of people just spam this in the Coliseum and all kinds of moves, and there's so many effective ways to deal with your opponents. A lot of brain dead waves, no effort needed. But as the veteran, I get a little fancy with it. You know, I get creative with it. I have fun with it, and yeah, those are all the coolest things you can do in Elden Ring PvP. As as far as I remember, at least. I don't know if there are any other cool moves that I could do. Of course, there are the exceptions that some cool things happen that are outside all of these. But generally, if you want to aim for some epic moments while dueling someone, these are the main things you can go for. Anyways, yeah, that's it.